Donald Trump should be applauded for making important gains with a certain two groups this election. All right? And you could go on and say, well, Orange Man's going to lose the election. I still highly doubt that. But that's for a separate topic. I'm making a video on the court stuff, debunking some myths about the court stuff. But for now, we need to focus on something. The future of the Republican Party. Because Trump may have single-handedly given the Republicans a new huge subsection of the nation that isn't just whites with no degree, which is the working class of this nation, but a second group. Now remember, I said there was two groups Donald Trump made big gains with. Number one is white working class, whites with no degree. Maybe ask yourself, what are you talking about? Trump did worse with his base. He did way worse with whites with no degree. Really? Go over to Wisconsin. Look at the Driftless area. This is where the white working class is, and even the Iowa part of the Driftless area swung heavily for Donald Trump. This is the part of the nation where there really isn't that high of college graduates, particular white college graduates, and it swung 4.5, 4.5, 6, almost 5.5, almost 8.5 points towards Donald Trump. So really, Trump made improvements with the white working class, whites with no degree. And you could just throw out this garbage right here in the Fox Valley. I'm making a separate video because what went down in the Fox Valley is just no, that's not possible. I'll make a video on it explaining more in detail, but you get the point. Just focus on this part of the state. This is really where the working class is of Wisconsin. Just pretty much everything west of Madison, right? And south of Eau Claire. This is the white working class of Wisconsin. And Trump did pretty good. Trump did very good, in fact. Swung a lot of these counties heavy towards the Republican Party. But enough of that. This was kind of a surprise. But not as a big surprise as what we saw in a certain part of the nation. Well, not a certain part of the nation, but a certain demographic that the media has called would never support Donald Trump in droves and that they hate him. You know what group this is? Latinos. Look in Texas. And you might be thinking to yourself, oh no, look at the Austin, San Antonio, Dallas, Houston area. Also went heavily for Biden. He's done. Orange Man is done. And Blumph is done. Here's the funny part, though. If you would have told me this swing map, just this part of the state of Texas, was the swing map, it just didn't show me what happened down in the southern part of the state, or even the western half of the state, I would have thought Trump lost it by 3. But instead, he won it by 5.5. You know what happened? Latinos struck back against the Democratic establishment. Look at these swings. Just these 3 counties. 55 points Republican. 23 points Republican. 19 points Republican. These are insane swings. And that's not even including these other counties. Zapata County. Trump's going to win. Why is this such a big deal? There's only 4,000 voters. This is a county a Republican hasn't won in over 100 years or so. 100. It voted Democrat in 84. Think about that. It hasn't voted Republican in over 100 years about. And you keep looking at these swing maps. You go over to this part of the state, another heavy Latino part of the state. 7-point swing El Paso, almost 8. 14. Almost 10. 7.5. 8.5. Etc. Trump made huge gains with Latino voters, and that's not even talking about this pocket right here. Another decently populated Latino part of the state. Well, not populated, but percentage-wise is heavy Latino based on counties. So this is important for the Republican Party going forward. But you might ask yourself, you might be scratching your head. Well, hold up a second here. if you check the census data from 2010, again, this isn't perfect. This isn't straight up to date, but this is a general idea. I couldn't find anything really exactly up to date. This is the closest thing we got. Maybe you see yourself, oh wait, hold up though. Sure, Trump made these massive improvements, right, in the Latino part of the state, but what happened in the Dallas area? There's a very decent size as Latino, or even the Houston area, or even extend the San Antonio area. There's a decent part that's Latino. Why did it swing towards Biden? Well, here's the catch with the swings that Biden got. These aren't your ordinary working class white voters. These aren't the whites with no degree voters. These are white college graduates. Now, you might ask yourself, why is that important? Well, this is a group Trump has such a toxic relationship with, and that Trump nationwide lost by 2 or 3. And he won by 1 last time, which was awful for a Republican, and he lost them 3 nationally. But the fact that a lot of these counties only swung 11 points Democrat, or 13, 11, 12, 12, almost 9 points Democrat, is a bit of a surprise, considering nationwide he lost white college graduates by 3. It was the Latino voters who picked up the slack, based on what I'm seeing. It saved Trump from losing Texas, it looked like. And you ask yourself, oh, why is that such a big deal? It's this. If Republicans can harness Trump gains in the Latino part of the state and get a candidate that can appeal to these traditional Republican part of the state, Houston, Fort Worth, etc., can find a way to win these counties back, right? Not just in Texas, across the nation. Republicans are on pace to be dominant, all right? And here's another interesting part. You might ask yourself, oh, the Republicans are never going to win this group ever again. White college graduates are gone. They swung heavily Biden. Here's the interesting part. I looked at exit polls, which are not perfect by any standards, and in fact is not pretty good at anything. But one thing, what was the most important issue to you when you voted? Alright? And I looked at it, and it shocked me. You look at white college graduates nationwide. 42% said economy, 10% said crime and safety. And look at this. Trump did pretty good with the economy. Crime and safety, a little bit less, but still, they're reasonable. But you see a certain group, 23% of white college graduates said coronavirus was their most important issue. And take a guess how heavily they voted for Biden. Yeah, 71 points. You take out coronavirus, right? Just take it out of the equation, and Trump would have gained with white college graduates. It seems like the only reason Trump lost white college graduates in the first place was coronavirus. So really, when you take a look at these swings, they're inflated big time. And in fact, if you get rid of COVID, right, Trump probably would have swung some of these counties Republican. Harris County would have probably swung Republican. It swung only a point Democrat. That's a shocker. This is very interesting. Fort Bend, 4 points Democrat, but a heavy white college graduate area. It's intriguing to look at that. Take out coronavirus, and Trump would have gained based on what we see on with white college graduates. But there's one issue that Republicans need to get ahead of the curve on, and it's this: healthcare. Healthcare, healthcare. You might be saying to yourself, oh, that's only 10%. Well, you take out coronavirus, right? And let's just say you'll give half of coronavirus voters to healthcare, the other half the economy. That's 20% of white college graduates that say, Okay, healthcare is the biggest policy we need. Healthcare change. And if you get rid of crime and safety and racial inequality and really make it just between economy and healthcare, well, it's probably even. So, that's intriguing, to say the least, that Republicans need to get ahead of the curve on. It might be only 20-30%, but they can't rely just on the economy to carry them nationwide with white college graduates. They need to get healthcare policy. Again, it's only 20%, but if you can just get that number nationwide with the white college graduates to just 30, even 40 somehow, Texas is safe for Republicans, and that would save Arizona. That would probably save Georgia, and it would make the Sun Belt basically a red wall again. So Republicans need to get ahead of the curve on healthcare, and even if you might be saying, "Oh well, we can just rely on whites with no degree. We don't need white college graduates. Just ignore healthcare." Well, you go to the exit polls, and 14% said healthcare was their biggest issue. Whites with no degree. And if you get rid of coronavirus, that's probably close to 30. And I can guarantee you Biden probably won that group, knowing how this year has gone. So you can't just rely on the economy. Even with saying, oh, whites with no degree, that's the only group we need. You're missing a big chunk of the nation with. This is the only policy I'm seeing that's keeping the Democrats afloat. If you get a real healthcare plan and combine it with the gains that Trump made with the Latinos, alright? Republicans are going to be unstoppable. Straight up unstoppable. They got to get a healthcare plan, something. And whether it's a tax credit plan, whether it's a public option, something. You can't just say, oh, my private market, we don't need Medicaid. You can't just win on that. So yes, Republicans need a healthcare policy. That's the biggest thing they absolutely need. And really, Republicans better not pick a neocon or a rhino in 2024, no matter what happens. Because all these gains that Trump made, particularly the Midwest, are going to be gone. Do not pick a neocon. Do not pick a rhino. If you pick DeSantis, and he has a real healthcare plan, Republicans are going to win 2024 or 2028 or whatever by a landslide. DeSantis might be the future of the Republican Party. He just needs a healthcare plan. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, hit the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, and you should really hit that join button because it helps. It helps, alright? It straight up helps me, and hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you to Joshua Perez and Spiffy Diameter for joining. Again, you should click that join button. And yes, hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.